There can be?
Oh yeah.
I'm a teacher, so
Yeah. All right. Hey everyone, Matt here from the Benvie podcast, Success Stories Unveiled. We have a very special guest today who's actually going to be interviewing me. Maybe we'll we'll interview you someday. We got John Tramble, teacher, coach, friend, son, brother, all of the things. John and I have known each other for a long time, way back to St. Francis Xavier University. Many awesome relationships in that place for lots of people listening can relate to. But I asked John to interview me because we've been friends for a long time, and I think he's been a part of Evolve and a part of the friendship for lots of different transformations and stuff like that. And I figured being your personality and the Tramble personality could give a great interview. So you have some experience.
I know you're trusting me with a big responsibility here.
Yeah, so I mean, I always joke that we were rivals in cross-country running in high school. I came 75th. John, I think you finished a little bit better than 75th.
Yeah,
I think you're top three.
Yeah, top three. Yeah.
But end of the rivalry was a friendship form. But just tell us a little bit about yourself and your upbringing, your athletic background, and what you're up to now.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Went to high school there. Was always into sports and active lifestyle. Parents definitely did a good job keeping me and my two brothers active throughout. And then went to St. X, and I was an athlete at St. X, running track and cross country. And then got into coaching basketball in my later years, and then did a kind of coast to coast coaching tour and teaching tour. That's where I got my start. So 5 different university programs, and wound back in Nova Scotia and became a part-time fitness trainer at Evolve. Now I'm at Armory Academy, director of basketball there, as well as a phys ed teacher. Coaching Canada Games this summer if it's a go, and starting up the inaugural season of the MWBA. It's happened Maritime Women's Basketball Association. As head coach of the Halifax Hornets. So staying busy.
Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day, I don't know, we're getting older, John, and you still have the energy to do all of the things and be upbeat and coach and all that stuff. So we'll do a podcast on you someday.
Well, hopefully. I haven't done anything yet, but I'm definitely I'm open to it. I'm always open to it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dig in. I know you got some questions for me, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, no, this is a privilege here. I get to interview, Matt Benvie, the nicer twin. Identity mistaken by some, but always friendly. Country music fanatic, the one and only Matt Benvie. So co-owner of Evolve Fitness. So just I really want to capture the journey of Matt Benvie here, and obviously Evolve Fitness has been very important to a lot of Metro people's lives. Definitely made that impact with you and your team. But let's get back to the beginning, childhood. What was it like growing up with that wonderful twin, Mitch Benvie, who I love also. I love too, but it's
Yeah, no, and I did interview Mitch, and I got some jabs in there, so it was all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys got along?
We did. It was the most amount of time we spent as the two of us in a long time, I'll say that. But, Mitch and I had a similar path, and it's funny how we kind of came together after his time in Korea. But anybody, again, that's listening to this, you'll be able to listen to the podcast we did all about Mitch and his journey. But we both want to be teachers our entire lives. We grew up, and as soon as we could walk, we started playing sports, and I'd say we had a great childhood, and Mitch talked a lot about that.
Awesome.
Great parents, very supportive, did all the things to make sure that we could wear Nike, and I laugh because Nike's like the cheap stuff now, and all the kids have the Hugo Boss and all this stuff, but shopping at Margolians for the discount shoes and all that stuff, but
weren't buying Yeezys, weren't rocking those.
No. And just, never missed a game, never missed anything, just always there for us and supporting all of that. And also, the coaches, I have my high school you probably know Larry McKenzie, actually. He was a ref for a long time as well.
Yeah, sounds
You
familiar.
know him to see him anyway.
Yeah.
And Larry was my basketball coach in grade 10, and he picked me up starting day 1 of basketball in grade 12 before school. He picked me up every single day from grade 10 to grade 12. And even though he wasn't the coach anymore, so that I could go practice by myself before school. So I would practice for an hour every morning, basketball before school, and it was like, never asked for anything in return, like ever, right? And my high school soccer coach, Rob Adams, still very close with both of them to this day, and we would always usually play soccer in Toronto in the summertime. And there was a 1 year gap from, I think it was from grade 10 to 11, or grade 10, 11 to 12, there was the Toronto team folded. So Rob, who had 3 young kids at home, created a summer team and coached it just so that we would have somewhere to play. Same thing, like drove us home, did all we wanted to start early because we were all keeners, right? So started a week early, came to school, and that wasn't really a thing for like a Division II high school. And just like, again, never asked for anything in return. Same thing with my high school basketball coach, like whatever we wanted, he would do. And just those things, it's like, okay, I mean, I think it's a small town thing too, because I didn't know anything else. So it was like, I just want to be like them. Mm-hmm. And how do you pay them back? Is you pay it forward and just be like them, right? Because it's like,
we call it servant leadership, right?
Yeah. And so it's like my entire life I wanted to do that, and thought I would have been a great coach and a gym teacher. I mean, that's what we all wanted to be. And made the mistake, I would say, of going to
like Kenny Powers.
Something like that.
Extra woodcock.
Might like Jerry.
Jerry.
But yeah, and always had great grades because we played every sport. So it was like after school, you played sports. So you had to go to class, or you didn't get to play sports after school. And because I looked up to these teachers so much and the coaches, and we had great teachers too, very lucky, and it's like we wanted to do well in school because of them. So 80s, 90s. Yeah, exactly.
Student first.
Yeah, and that didn't translate to St. FX, I'll say that. So Mitch, it was a very last minute decision to go to St. FX for me. It was, I thought really the dream was to go play soccer at some school in the States and be a Division II soccer player. That was like what I did, yet I didn't do enough. I actually had to take a soccer tape. What I did was I put me and the Brazilian kid together because he was amazing. And I was like, we're like a package deal. And, I didn't get any scholarship offers. Got some offers of, hey, come try out.
Did you have music in the background? Like, what was the song?
I don't remember if I did. I made it myself on the VCR though. I haven't told that story in a long time. I'm glad that got brought out. But
we're gonna put that on YouTube.
Yeah. I don't know if I still have it.
Yeah, here's my Brazilian friend.
Yeah. He was probably the best
Kudos.
player in Nova Scotia at the time.
Really?
Oh, he was unreal. He was amazing. And so Mitch was going to Dow, and I was kind of like, I was going to go to MUN. And then, I know. But I was like,
sorry for the Dow. We love Dow. I love Dow.
No,
but I think you made the right choice.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I gotta go not to Halifax. And then, I'm gonna say this very honestly, because this is just my high school, like, a bunch of people I wouldn't consider very good students went to St. FX. And that was my hesitation. I was like, St. FX is where the dumbasses go. That's what I thought. And I didn't know anything, I didn't even know what metric was, right? There was no tradition, there was no nothing. And St. FX just became the decision, and I went there and just, from day one, like, met all of the people that I'm still close with today, and feel very fortunate for the opportunity to go there. 0 people from my high school went there that year, so that was great. Because one thing that was important, I think, is to get out of the small town, meet new people, and have new opportunities and things like that. And love the small town, but just, expanding your horizons is important. So, just to kind of continue on the journey, it was get to St. FX, okay. Got a minor in a science, because if you're going to be a teacher, you got to get a job, you need to have that science teacher, right?
That's right.
So I got physics. I got a 99 in high school. Loved my physics teacher in high school. Still friends to this day again. And show up and got to university and realized that nobody cares if you go to class. And I wasn't playing varsity sport, right? So accountability was a huge thing for me, and I had none. So I got a 50 right on the money in physics, and went through trying to minor in sciences, kept failing them all. Doing pretty well in like these algebra courses, I enjoyed those. All the while, failing at being an academic student, still doing the things I love, and you're a part of that. Is I got to coach youth basketball. I got to coach band for 2 years. I got to go every single Saturday morning, as hungover as I could be, but I still made it, and I got to coach 2 different groups for 2 years in a row. And they actually gave me a paid position because I still wanted to show them.
So starting to follow and Rob and Larry's servant leadership footsteps, kind of find a route at St. Vax with those opportunities.
Yeah, and that was like, again, just wanted to coach, and that's what I just wanted to shoot hoops and coach and do all that, and then I was getting into my last year, which was my 5th year, because I decided to switch to an arts teachable. So I switched from, I was physics, then I was math, then I was biology, then I was English. So then I was English, and it took a 5th year to do that, but that's when we started the SBL.
That's right. Xavier Basketball League.
Xavier Basketball League, and it's still going to this day. And
we're the founders.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of like those old dogs that just say, wasn't as good as it was back then. I'm pretty sure the talent's still pretty good.
Yeah, there's no Gary Gallagher playing right now.
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, and what I took out most is I got the university experience really led me to being successful in business, I think, and I'll say that at St. Vax and at Acadia, you had to take activities as part of this, and one of the very first activities I took was, because I was trying out for the soccer team, and I chose my courses last, and it's crazy the opportunity. It was weight training with Doc Ryan, and that's how I got hooked up with the Deal and Skip team, and meet Teresa McCush and all the girls on the basketball team who I just love.
Legend.
Yeah.
Yes, US All-Star.
Yeah, and one of the kindest people you ever met in your entire life.
Yeah.
And so got involved with that because of my weight training class with Doc, and then I had to take folk dance. And folk dance, I would say prepared me more for this job than any course I've ever taken in my life. Because
not your trips to Nashville or
No. So folk dance was scary. I mean, it's a comfort zone thing. You're going in there, you have 2 left feet, and you're trying to figure out how to cape right step dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell the story, and it's so relatable, and I don't know if I've told you this story before, but I couldn't cape right and step dance, and Manos was in my class. Remember Manos? So he's in my class, and he's doing it, and everybody's doing it.
Big football player.
Big football player.
Yeah, great guy.
A great guy, absolutely. So he's in there, Janet Morty's in there, and I'm the only one who can't do it. And I'm like pissed. I'm like, I should be able to figure this out. Like, it's embarrassing because you can't do the thing that everybody's doing. So I went back to my residence and I found Megan O'Hanley from Cape Breton. I said, do you know how to Cape Breton step dance? She said, absolutely. I said, can you teach me? So she taught me, and I practiced in my room until I could do it without thinking. And then I went back to class. I'm doing it without thinking, and I look around. There was not one person doing it right except for me. And that stuck with me over time. And in the fitness industry, people are really scared to go to a gym. And part of that is because they think that everybody's doing it right, and everybody's super fit and everything, when really nobody's doing it right. Nobody's super fit. They're all just kind of doing their thing in the best way they can, right? And my hesitation from that class was like, man, everybody's doing it right, but for me, I wasn't able to properly look around and notice because I was so self-conscious and so stuck in what I was doing. So I was like, okay, Brett step dance, I can still do it to this day. I actually did a video on Instagram because I still know how to do it because it's so ingrained, because I practice and practice and practice and never knows. Most embarrassing but most like relatable thing to what I do now more than anything, and that was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Really, so folk dancing. Okay. Well, it definitely has helped you with your rhythm in terms of step dancing in the country. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Yeah. No, so obviously, making waves at St. Vax, growing up, becoming the mature adult that you are now. Was fitness always the goal? Was that like, did you see yourself, okay, career-wise? Yeah. What was the change? Because you said phys ed teacher. What was the shift?
So the shift was, and this is St. Vax as well, and the professors who we had. So I don't know about you, but you were a runner, so there was some training involved in that. But we were playing all the sports, but we weren't working out back then. Nobody really was, right? So fitness wasn't, other than being in game shape, it wasn't really a big deal. So went through St. Vax. It was vanity to start. We wanted to go to the gym with the boys and get the muscles so the girls would like us more, and that's usually how it starts for that. And then personal training was actually 2 different academic courses at St. Vax. One taught by Darren Burke, who's an entrepreneur here in Halifax. One taught by Jeff Fossen. they were very, we learned a lot about fitness. Darren was the laziest prof of all time. He knows that every day was like a presentation, but if nobody had a presentation, he would just talk about business. And they're both kind of things like never work for a gym, right? Like always trying to do your own thing. So that was like, okay. I would say personal training wasn't, it was a viable career for some, but it wasn't what it is now. Like there was no boot camps going on back then. There was no
Right.
R series, no F45, right? It wasn't a career, really opportunity. But I kind of thought it was, and I kind of fell in love with, I started doing some of the group coaching, I started implementing what I was learning with the teams that I was coaching, seeing that and realizing that, and Angie Thompson and I had a conversation, I was like, Angie, I'm not going back to school for 2 more years. Like, A, I can't afford it. B, do I even have the grades? I mean, I know I have the personality of a teacher. I could have been a teacher right in high school, I thought, right? And that's what, I was a little bit jaded by that.
Oh, it
was like, why do I need to go to school for 7 years? It should be 6, maybe 5, whatever. And I was like, I think I want to be like a personal trainer. And she's like, well, that's teaching too. And just teaching in a different way, right? And she just really flipped the script in my mind. And Jason Davis, who's from Truro, you probably remember playing some pickup with Jason. He threw the big elbows to us a lot down in the paint. But Jason's a great guy and a great, like a longtime friend. And he was like very business oriented as well. And he still is today. He's got lots of entrepreneurial things going on in his industry right now in Halifax too. There's actually just to give Darren and Jeff credit, there's like 4 of us who own gyms in Halifax that are in that class with those guys.
Wow.
And like that's pretty cool, right? And just making an impact and all that, which was the important thing. So I was still working, like I worked all my summers at Home Hardware, night shift from 11 midnight till 7 in the morning, getting off Friday morning, going back Sunday night. That's where my dad worked for 37 years, that's where my older brother works. So I did that for 5 summers. And Kijiji had just become a thing. And I was like, okay, I want to get into this and let's just see what happens. So I'm on Kijiji for the first ever time in my life in my parents' basement. I gotta go home from work and play online poker and then go on Kijiji and I see this ad, and I'll never forget this ad. Professional parents looking for a trainer for their 2 kids. Daughter's going to stand back to try for the soccer team. Trevor Reddick is coach, and Trevor, like I said, and obviously the Teresa connection there. Some hockey player, preferably a kinesiology student, reach out. And I reached out and I said, I can't go there during the week, I have to work, but I'm off every Friday morning at 7 a.m. I'll come up, I'll do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that'll be that. I come up and meet them. They own Del Sol, I don't remember Del Sol in Bishop's Landing, but it was the Legay family. Doug is a orthopedic surgeon in Dartmouth, you know Doug. So
they played hockey with his son?
Yeah, one of his sons. So they have 5 kids.
Okay, that's right.
3 girls, 3 boys. So I was training the youngest son Bill, and the youngest daughter Christina. And so they said yes, and I came up and trained them every weekend. And then Christina came to St. Vax, kept in touch, became friends, and then did the year at St. Vax, continued to coach, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to train people wherever they want to train. You're not really allowed to do that. So I got a membership to Dallas, NEU, and New Bodies, was New Bodies at the time. And I came back and I trained for Legates again. And then I had reached out to a bunch of coaches who I still remembered from coaching in the city. And I was looking to coach. And what was born out of that was like, one of them was like, well, can you train my son and his friend for basketball? And they're 13 or 14 years old. And that was Liam Mitchell. I don't know if you know Liam, but I'll end up playing for the Mount. And he would be like all those Andy Mitch kids like Kwame and Mike Tate. He'd be their age. So just started training people wherever they want. Got away with it for a few months, and then I was walking down the street across from the Clyde Street liquor store where the Pirate was, and I see Evolve Fitness. And I'm telling this story more now because I used to be embarrassed by the story, but now I'm more proud of it. Is that it was a gym already, it was Evolve Fitness, it was for sale. So I walked in, and the owner, Chris Hughes, he had owned it for about a year and a half, and he had 4 young children, or maybe the 4th wasn't there yet, but they hadn't started school yet. His wife's from Australia, so like, okay, we're gonna sell the business, move to Australia so the kids can go to school in Australia and do all that. So at this point, I'm like, it's less than $0 to my name, and I was like, I gotta make this work because it's already a gym, and I don't know how to own a gym, right?
Right.
So he wanted, I think, $30,000, and I had less than 0. Like, okay, how am I gonna make this work? Talked to Darren about it. Darren said, looked at his finances, said, don't do it. Go start your own gym. And I'm like, how am I gonna find space? Buy equipment? Like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So I was desperate. It's like, I just need to make this work.
And
So-
decent location too.
Yeah,
right?
downtown, yeah.
Downtown.
And he had some clients,
exactly.
and I didn't have a lawyer or anything like that, so the legates lent me a little bit of money, and then the guy agreed to give it to me monthly, so $1,000
Wow.
a month for 24 months. And then what the problem was, and where I got into kind of my first need for help was, I didn't get an agreement of, this is the cost based on how many clients there are. And
Right.
I only had about 3 or 4 of his clients that continued on, even though, and maybe he had this amount of clients, and this is nothing against him, it's like he probably did, but only 3 or 4 continued, and he said that it was like 35 hours a week, $50 an hour. Great. This is awesome. I'm gonna be the best personal trainer ever. And then I get
amounts of energy.
Yeah.
I'll just give myself.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
give myself to everyone will love me.
Yeah. That is a personal trainer. Let's go. I mean, I had never been to Halifax before. I had only been to Micmac Mall school shopping. Right? So.
But yeah, the connections of the X-ray,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You know, they just hold it on to. Yeah, it's definitely gonna work out. It's definitely gonna work out. I love it.
Yeah. So now I get there, and it was just it was a wake-up call, and it was.
Well, you're out of your bubble, right?
Yeah.
Like you're totally out of your bubble.
Yeah,
that's
you're
kind
an
of
adult
like you're an adult now. That's the thing. You went through years at St. X, but this is why I'm like as a friend, like just super proud of you, because most people get out of that bubble and it takes them a while, but like you seized the opportunity. The timing felt right. You went with your heart, which you always do, and that's why this is why this is Success Stories Unveiled.
yeah, and it wasn't always the success
But
story.
with that, no, exactly. That kind of leads into the struggles and the obstacles that you had to overcome, because you gotta get your name out there, and it's obviously evolved to more than just a closet space off Clyde Street, right? So Clyde Street, yeah.
Clyde Street, yeah. Yeah, so that was September 1st, 2009, so we're pushing
Right.
13 years ago.
Crazy.
And it was one-on-one private training, and I'm not thinking that rent is $2,700 a month, and plus utilities, plus insurance, plus things you don't think about, right?
More than $100 or $200 of rent money that you're paying yearly.
Exactly.
monthly.
Yeah.
It's impacts.
Yeah, and had a few clients, didn't know how to acquire more clients, so just kind of rolled with it. Some of those clients are still clients today, friends, which is the coolest part about being in this industry, and just so a lot of love for that. But the struggle would have been just not knowing anything about anything, really, right? There's no business background. They don't teach you anything about business in school if you don't take business. Didn't know anything about marketing, how to get clients, didn't know what to charge, how to charge, what to offer, all of that stuff. And then I just got to show that there's a guy that I've never met. And he's actually close friends with a bunch of our clients named Ryan Swan. I don't know if you know Ryan.
I do know Ryan.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I'm glad you know him.
Yeah, him and his sister Chelsea.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Ryan's from Truro, but one St. X, we missed each other there. And Ryan reached out to me one day and he said, I see you have a gym in Halifax, and he was at the time doing corporate fitness in Colorado.
Yeah.
And he said, here's this guy, Pedro Schoolian. You can opt into his list, which people who are reading this are familiar with that because I have an email list now, owned by Pedro Schoolian, who he sent me. That's the software that I use, this guy owns. And he said, listen, just get on his email list. He sends you a bunch of free stuff, and sometimes he'll try to sell you stuff. And you can buy it or not. And like a lot of people, they get the information and thank you, and then did nothing with it for a while. And then I'm getting these emails, and then there's tips on marketing and how to get clients and this and that. And again, to Ryan, and this is why I just love paying it forward and believe it's so important, because Ryan did that, and we still haven't met somehow. And he just did that. We didn't know each other, and he just sent me that. He's like, you own a gym in Halifax, like, this is what I think is important. And so that
You know what? It's the X-ray.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what Brian actually has.
Took me a
But
while.
definitely there was something there.
I'm glad I got mine when the price of gold was less. So I'm not wearing it right now.
No, neither am I.
Yeah, so in those, we talk about struggles and obstacles and things like that. Was my building was owned by a company that had a lot of commercial real estate. I was not paying my rent. I couldn't afford it, and I avoided them like the plague, and they didn't bug me too much at first. I have every sent email I've ever sent still in my inbox, and like I almost cried like when I went back and looked because I was so embarrassed of my like desperate emails that I sent them, because then they started looking for the money, and I would give them a check and it would bounce. Because back then I was only accepting checks, and my clients would show up and they'd be like, "Oh man, I forgot the check," and you can't say,
Right.
"I need that check."
Right.
You have to say,
Right.
"Oh, no big deal, bring it next time," right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
in the life of a trainer, you can't be happy and upbeat all the time, even when you're not, right?
Mhm.
So that was like the first like major stress. I got $10,000 behind on my rent. I was learning and I was starting to grow, and I was starting to acquire clients and learn how to treat them well and all of that stuff, and get referrals and stuff like that. But like still $10,000 behind my rent. Paying my rent and being behind 10,000 is hard, right? Because you have to make that up and continue to pay your rent. I mean, it's just when you're a solopreneur like by yourself, charging. I went down. I did the wrong thing as a business owner. I charged less for a service that was good, you know, and because you're not confident in what you do, right? So you
Right.
charge less.
Right.
You get all the wrong clients.
And you're a nice guy.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right? you're trying to be a
Yeah.
shrewd businessman, but it's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough when, again, going back to like your roots in terms of having that influence of those servant leaders, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just like, it's that give and take, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so then, started to grow. And the big thing that Major Schooling and coached on was like, you need to do group fitness. Because charging one person $50 an hour is never going to give you an opportunity to scale and to help more people. Like, you want to make an impact on as a personal trainer. Yes, it's amazing, and that is what some people absolutely love to do. They love to have this in-depth help with that one person, or you could probably have 20 or 25 clients if you have a full roster.
Right.
But my thing was like, I want to help as many people as I can. I want to coach people, and if you can have 20 people in a boot camp that are paying, $100 a month or $150 a month, then your chance of making more revenue is going to be greater with group fitness. So, started running some boot camps outside with another St. Max grad, Dan Evans, and Victoria Shoup, who's back with us now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Victoria was way back then. Like, still have my first emails that I sent to her, and I of course was like, "This is going to be the best job ever, Victoria. Like, you're going to make so much money." and then Mitch decided he's going to move home, and
Jeez,
so
okay.
if Mitch didn't move home, Victoria probably would have been Mitch
Wow.
along this journey. And I'm a big believer in like fate, and I'm not a religious person, but like, first time I went on Kijiji, I met the Legays, like,
Yeah.
when they put our condo up for sale, and I'm just finally caught up on rent. Mitch had moved back. We made a little space for him in the basement, barely enough equipment to train somebody. And his clients are still clients to this day. Just all of the relationships and everything. But what the first thing was before, as I was paying that money back, I also got into a little bit of trouble with CRA, because I had an account that I was supposed to be trading service with, and I had all these receipts and doing everything right, but I owed money, right? And this woman ghosted me, and she stole all of my receipts from the first 3 years of business, and at this time I hadn't done my taxes in 3 years, and I'm like, that's pretty stressful.
Yeah.
And she sent me the weirdest messages ever, like, "Oh my god, I don't know if she's ever gonna listen to this, but I hope she's okay. I hope she's okay, I really do."
Oh, boy.
So that was my first experience in what I believe is really important for all areas of our life, is being able to ask for help and having the humility to ask for help.
Absolutely.
And I went to the perfect client, who is still a mentor to this day. He did the exact right thing. He could afford to write me a check and fix all of my problems. He didn't give me any money. He just gave me the skills and the guidance to help me overcome myself, right? And that's the biggest lesson you can get, right? You don't have to fix people's problems for them.
Right.
And everyone learned a lesson, right?
That's right.
So that was my first thing of, I asked for help. It was the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I sent him this email. I couldn't do it in person. I was too embarrassed. I sent him this email. It was a huge email. And he just made a joke. He's like, "Oh, you should have seen the time that this happened with me and whatever, right? And it's gonna be okay. Don't freak out. I'll help." And that was just the best thing that ever happened. It was finally I could not keep this in anymore, right? Mitch didn't know. Mitch didn't know this for years and years and years. I don't even know if he knows it right now. Until I started telling the story, because the story is inspirational, and it will help people, because I want to help people overcome things, right? I think it's important to be vulnerable and to share your story. So that people realize that that's okay. So cut through that, and then Hamburg, which was the company, I guess I can say that publicly, they're the company that owned the building, put up for sale. Commercial condo, wanted more money than I had, because I had no money at this point. I had just got off my rent with all my money. So I went on Kijiji again, and I found Kijiji. Oh my goodness gracious! I hope it's still hot. And I knew that I wanted an indoor one morning. It was like, we gotta get rid of the weather, right?
Yeah, it's Nova Scotia. It's
Yeah.
a little unpredictable.
Yeah, dewy
Right,
anymore,
you know?
And, you find people asleep once in a while after a party on Sunday night, and it's just like, that happened once, I'd call the cops. And,
Well, there's two seasons too. There's winter and there's construction.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with some unpredictability
Yeah.
in terms of space and where to go
Yeah.
for you and your clients to feel comfortable
Exactly.
and get the experience that you want.
Exactly. And the thing with seasonal boot camps is you lose those people from winter, and then you have to reacquire them all the time, and you don't really make an impact on them year long, right? So
Exactly.
found this space on Canard Street. It was
Yes.
it has been many things over the years, and basically the landlord, who's still friends with him to this day, awesome guy, really entrepreneurial, great success story for a landlord in Halifax, and he did leaseholds. So he did all of the leaseholds. So he worked, basically that means he paid for the improvements, all the renovations up front, and worked it into the lease. So the crazy perspective is, we went from having 2 crappy personal training rooms, one okay personal training room and one crappy one, to 2 decent personal training rooms and a boot camp room, with the leasehold included for $3,500 a month. And downtown we were paying $2,700 plus utilities that were outrageous every month. So like very comparable rent, and now we get to do boot camp all year long. And we bought very little equipment, and we did our first ever May of 2013. We moved in, then we did Team Ed versus Team Mitch. It was just Mitch and I in the business at the time.
Nice.
And it was a hit, and we brought in a lot of revenue on the front end of that, and a lot of people became members, and then it was like,
And that's what I love about you two. It's just like it is. You got friendly Matt, and then you got Mitch.
Mitch the
Who,
Itch.
You know, Mitch the Itch, right? I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so, again, still solopreneurs, Mitch is an employee at this time, and,
Right.
and if somebody's sick, the other one just does it, right? Just working like crazy, which we still do, but in a different way. Still not knowing how to run a business, just all heart and all just figured it out on the fly, no processes, no nothing.
Right.
And then we hired Eric Merchant, who was one of my first ever clients.
Nice.
And then Eric went to physio school, and that's when Alan came on. So
Okay.
Alan was there.
Dalton.
Yeah, so September will be.
Great pickup.
Yeah, so September will be 8 years for him. So he would have come soon after we started there.
Probably the unknown, but known now, best dancer in Halifax.
Best dancer in Halifax. Oh, 100%. 100%. If you want to know about Alan, just send me a message. I'll send you a video. The private ones. The ones his wife hasn't even seen.
Oh, wow.
Alan and I were dancing on tables at Commons in Phoenix one time, so I mean,
Fair.
it is what it is. I usually get him to start dancing, and then I'll join in afterwards when we're all getting comfortable, because I don't like to dance. I do like to dance, but there has to be a few vodka sodas involved.
Right.
Anyway, that's a
Very
podcast.
fair. Very fair.
That's our X-rated podcast.
So you got the team assembling.
Yeah.
You got the team assembling. You're coming in your own a little bit. You're out of the closet space.
Yeah.
You're on Canard, building up some momentum.
Yeah, and that was, I don't want to say all smooth sailing, but we had steady growth every single year for, we were there for a little more than 5 years, and then came, different parts of that was trying to figure out how to work on the business and not train as many, because if I'm training people 60, 70 hours a week, which I used to do, then there's no time to learn how to grow and how to scale and how to run a team and things like that. So I went and I was going to this conference every year that Pedro Schooley and Ryan sent me. And he's always selling his mastermind, his coaching group at the end. And finally, he's on stage and he's like, if you're shitting your pants, that's what I want you, because I know that you care. And I know that you'll do everything you can to grow your business, make an impact, help more people. And so I sent a message to the same client that helped me out for the previous hole, and I was like, man, this is $1,600 US a month. This is insane. Plus you have to travel 4 times a year to these meetings. And he's like, you need a mentor, you gotta do it. And you need a fitness mentor. So I joined, and Bezos became my coach. I joined his group. I was in that group for a year.
Invested in yourself.
Yeah, and it was great. And I learned so much about fitness and marketing and retention and things like that. And it was a great year. The group was a little bit too big and full of the wrong kind of people. I'm not I made some great friends in that group that I'm still friends with today, but there was 80 people. They were mostly males that were just huge jack guys, and all I want to talk about is working on things like that. And I just want to talk about sports and country music and
Right.
things like that, right? So I didn't relate to a lot of
Country
people.
music and sports.
Yeah. I didn't relate a lot to the people, but grow. Building goes for sale. Can't afford it because it's a developable building. So it was like it was just way too much for a gym. And we're still, we're not. I wouldn't say at that time we're growing and we're having some profit, but we're not there. We're not like saving money.
Right.
So then, this was the point where we were first getting scenes, and we really were needed a bigger space. Thought that having 2 locations would be too hard to manage, so we're trying to find 2 locations under one roof. Went back to the well for the same client. He helped us find a broker who was going to find us a space, and that's when we found Starboard Hill.
Wow.
And this was we opened in July of 2018. But we were brokering this deal, and I have all these emails the year before. Because construction took forever, obviously. So this was the first big risk because previous, like I said, it's like if we didn't have money, we just would pay Mitch and I less, right? It was very easy because we're brothers, and that's just the way it is. Like you couldn't really tell Alan, like, sorry, Alan, like can't pay you because we can't afford it, right? So luckily we were never put in that position because Mitch and I did so much for so long that it was a viable business, and we were making some money before to take some risks and things like that.
Right.
But this was the big risk because this is 21,000 square feet. Our other location was 2,400.
This is what I call the bat cave. It's quite the spot that you landed.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know this story. So this was where the other asking for help, and again, this is what I always come back to was I was banking with a bank who will remain unnamed until all of our loans are paid off. And I said, listen, I don't have any assets, like I don't own a house, I have credit card debt, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I realize I'm probably not going to be able to get this loan for hundreds of thousands of dollars that I need to make this gym happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, you're good. Like, you've been doing this for 9 years, growth every year. Like, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Wow.
And then it was like, okay, it's all good, man. Like, I'll be following up because we started construction. Like, and my mentor that I had, he helped find that person to do the construction, helped save us a lot of money by finding the right person. They literally probably saved us $200,000 on a renovation that was already going to be $400,000 or $500,000. And we had this space to sublease, which is now been wrecked, which is great because we couldn't afford the rent, just us, because it's too big a space. So they're like, okay, Matt, no, we just need this form. We need you to fill this out and sign this. Okay, but it's all good, Matt. It's all good. And I'm getting invoices for $41,000. Matt, can we give you a call? This is so-and-so from this bank, business manager. We just don't think that the fitness industry is reliable, and we're not going to be able to approve the loan that we told you months ago that it was fine. And okay, so let that sink in. You don't have money to pay contractors who are doing renovation on your brand new 21,000 square foot gym. So that's again, going down this stressful rabbit hole.
This is where you step into a glass case of emotion.
Yeah. So I don't remember if I cried or not, but and I just said to my mentor, I was like, what do I do? I said, again, don't worry about it. And he linked me up with his somebody at his bank. He said, hey, this is Matt. He's a budding young entrepreneur. I still remember the email he CC'd me on. He's like, can you hook him up with a young commercial banker? And we made it happen and got the loans that were necessary and did all of the stuff. And the typical stresses that all my clients laugh at me about, like 4 months behind, paying rent in 2 different places and all this stuff. And we're just like, wait, we thought your construction would be on time? It's like, well, I've never done it before, so it's always that'll be done. Show up there, 21,000 square feet, and there's one guy with a hammer. It's like, what are you doing? We need to go faster. We need 100 guys with one hammer. So, and I can laugh about it now, but it was crazy stressful times, and that's why, such a Mitch and I are we value hard work and value loyalty. And
absolutely.
I do cry when I talk about Alan because Alan went to work every effing morning. Came to help me at the gym, got dirty, had a shower, went back, trained more people, and then came to help me till 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I couldn't work out or anything because I was just dirty all day and putting equipment together and stuff like that. And it's like, he probably legally could sue us for overtime that we never paid him. It was like, he just did it.
Now you know to listen to that.
Laura might listen to it.
Now you're
yeah. Well, it's just like we've done a lot for Alan, he's done a lot for us, and it's just like a relationship that I'll cherish forever, no matter what. Cody's wedding and all that. So and did that, and that was we opened in July of 2018, and we didn't have enough clients finance to cover our expenses, but we knew we had something because we were crazy busy, right? And we were turning away clients at the other because we didn't have enough space. So
Right.
we just went all in. We hired some great people, and we just grew. And things were working. I was able to remove myself from the training, really focus on the business. I was learning a lot. I was in a new coaching group that I joined right before that. I joined Crank all the time, who I'm still with then. And I left kind of fitness-centric coaching groups and more like professional development coaching groups, and just learning about general things that could be applied to any business. And I loved it because I was with all these awesome people and now at different businesses. And what I would say I've become kind of good at was like seeing what somebody's doing in their business that has nothing to do with fitness and be like, oh man, that's something unique that I can apply to ours.
Right.
And that's kind of the things that I started to enjoy doing. All of that. So we break even our first year, and it was like, man, we broke even. This is crazy. I didn't think we'd break even. Like our costs are just insane. Like what it costs to run this place per month is just insane. And so our year end is at the end of August. So the end of year is August. So 6 months later, we're March 2020. We're profitable now. Our first 6 months of the year are profitable, and the pandemic hits.
Yeah.
So that's and obviously what we're still dealing with when we're talking about this now. So that was like
Boom goes the dynamite.
boom goes the dynamite. Yeah. So you work, and the Barstool sports guy, he did a lot of fundraising during COVID as well, and he said something that really resonated. He's like, you work. What if you worked your entire life for something, which I have, and you were just about to make it, and the pandemic hit?
Mm-hmm.
You worked for 10 years,
Yeah.
and you were just about to make it, and the pandemic ruined your business and your life. And I just felt that deep because I was like, we got in just in time.
Yeah.
Like we broke even for our first year, we started to be profitable, and that other year, if pandemic happened 6 months earlier, we wouldn't be talking right now, right? And doing this podcast. So it's a scary thought to think about, just the timing of everything. So that was an obstacle, and it was another opportunity to ask for help, and we were pretty fast with everything because I asked for help. I said, should we just go? I gotta get online. Should I use Zoom? Yeah, you should use Zoom. And then clients.
That's the occurring theme to your story again. Connections, humility, right, and timing, and because of your connections, your support system that you've been able to build up, and a great team. Like you guys, when everyone was kind of scratching their heads, you guys took action. And that was seen through the community. Me, as I was part-time and I was teaching, I was able to kind of, okay, what are you guys gonna do? You got the back cave. Like, what are we gonna do the back cave? It's so that was mounting, but how was that process? Like, what was decided? Like, what was okay? We're hitting the panic button here. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Or I always say next play, right? There's a big turnover, next play. What does Evolve Fitness do? Because the pandemic just dropped.
Yeah, I remember it pretty clearly. I haven't talked about actually this in a long time, and it's crazy. It's been 22 months ago, coming on 2 years here. So I was in Chicago. I was due to be in Chicago for St. Patty's Day to hang out with some old clients that I'm still very good friends with, Jeff and Andy, that you've met.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Hey, Andy! Hey, shout out.
Andy,
Jeff and Andy. That'll be nice.
And I hope
Because I'm on this.
Yeah. But two of the best guys that I've ever, you're meant to meet people, and you're one of the people that's meant to meet, and they're two people that I've meant to meet. So we're in Chicago, and the world's going to crap, right? And I was supposed to go out to Fort Lauderdale and then Nashville and have this great trip. And it was March. Mitch and I were texting back and forth. He's like, you gotta come home. He's like, what do we do? And we're seeing all the things happen. And we're lucky that Dr. Todd, actually, he's the leading infectious disease doc in town. He's a client and a great friend. Talking to Todd, and I was just like, I was sitting there the next day after St. Patty's Day, feeling the shame of having gone out and partied the day before, and the news was like, look at all these idiots who are out partying. And we were playing ping pong at this bar. We were the only ones in the bar. And texting back and forth with Mitchie. He's like, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. And I was just like, and I was in tears. I was like, we just gotta close. We gotta close. And this was Sunday, March 15th.
Wow.
And I changed my flight home to the next morning. So all this, and he's like, okay, we're gonna close. Having no idea what to do. with him, and they know what he knows to do. Let's be serious. There's nobody to prepare.
No.
So I flew home on the 16th, provided Newark. Met up with Moronga, was flying home from visiting his friend in South Carolina.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Moronga, another great friend, and
Awesome guy.
met him because he moved the soccer stop in beside Clyde Street.
That's right. Yeah. Soccer stop now.
12 years ago. Yeah, and you know, he has a business too, so we're trying to figure that out.
Right.
And texting my business coach, being like, okay, we gotta go online. Like Zoom is doing the best thing. Texted Brian, who did the sound for the Sochi Olympics, who was a client. Said, hey, can you help us? He said no, but this guy can. Rockdown Productions does the Trailer Park Boys, all that. Get a hold of him. He's flying in from Mexico because he's in Mexico for the winter, and he's like, I can set you up with gear for a good virtual setup. So he comes in as soon as his quarantine is over. So we started with phones, and we're like, you know, the thing is there was no template for what Jim should do.
No.
But you know, I was like, I'm not just canceling everybody's membership because that means I'm giving up on them.
Right.
And that means that they just have, you know, we're all dealing with different things, but that and a lot of people are losing jobs and things like that. We just let everybody make their own choice for membership. And gave a lot of refunds. We put a lot of memberships on hold, some that are still on hold to this day. But I didn't want to be like, cancel your membership. No, I'm going to give you better service than you have now. I'm going to support you through this crazy time that we're in, right? So that was my mindset, was like, okay, we got to go all in on the clients and we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
And it was virtual workouts. We gave them all their own coach to help them keep them accountable. We gave them all, they had access to this nutrition software. We gave them all access. Normally we would charge for it. We gave it to them all, including their membership. And it's again, it's a thank you for your support. Like, we absolutely need you and appreciate you. And just, I mean, there's so much uncertainty. So I did the first March 17th, St. Patty's Day. I did the first workout from my apartment. So I was in quarantine for 2 weeks, and we got it going on our phones. And credit to the team for just, and you know, this is something that we learned is we were probably a little bit too hard on the team at first, and just being like, hey, we're just gonna get shit done, right? And we're just gonna do this. You know, they went from they lost their identity, right? It's like they were going teaching and fulfilled and having full classes all the time. To come in and do a virtual class once a day, right? So I'd say that was our one kind of like failure, was not asking them enough how they felt, and you know, their needs and things like that. And that would be one regret that I would say that I have. But just trying to be solid and like again, you know, saving your business, but giving your client service, because you have hundreds and hundreds of clients now who are at home and they're stressed and they have different situations. And what do we know about stress? Is exercise and community connection. So we started doing, I mean, you saw my line dance, and I was just like, I'm at home, I'm gonna learn how to line dance, I'm gonna entertain people, because maybe I'm the only one who thinks it's funny, but we're gonna do it anyway. We did happy hours every Friday night.
That's right.
It's like,
we love those happy hours. That was great.
So.
Dance competitions.
Dance competitions. I mean, it's what we know is important, but was extra important through COVID, and what we're still dealing with is like connections to other people is really important. Get on the FaceTime and get on the things and connect with people that matter. And that was honestly one of the personal things that meant the most to me through the pandemic was, you know, my best friend lives in Newfoundland, and I used to not go to Newfoundland because it's like, why would I go to Newfoundland for the weekend when I could go to Nashville, right? Why would I take time off work? Because that was my thing. It's like, if I'm gonna leave work, I'm gonna go somewhere more fun. And then the only place you can go is Newfoundland, and he lives on the water, and Humber Valley, like one of the most beautiful places you can possibly go. And I was like, I turned my phone off for the first time in my life for 24 hours, and it was the best thing ever. And I was like, got to hang out with my best friend and his wife and his 2 kids, and now it's like, I was like, this is a biannual trip now. It's like, we're going every year for his birthday in September. We've got a boat now, so it's like, that's great. Play golf, like, I'm just like singing praises of Humber Valley. It's the best place in the world, right? Who needs Nashville when you got Humber Valley, right? But it's like that connection to the people that are important. Absolutely. That was a big takeaway from that. But yeah, we did. I kind of went on a massive tangent from what you're asking, but like, we did the Zoom right away. We went all in on our clients, and then we went all in the community. And recognizing that people were struggling in conversations with business owner clients, and it was like, virtual can be anybody, right? And Mitch, I gotta give Mitch a shout out, because it was his idea to get virtual. He wanted it to be $1. I think that's where I steal it as my idea. We'll do it for $1 or whatever. I was like, we'll do it by donation, and we'll do it by gift cards for all this. And we didn't know what was gonna happen. And turned into now well over $100,000 that we've raised. And it was it's been gift cards, it's been charity donations, it's been scholarships that we started, and just new connections and meeting awesome business owners that are also doing really cool things during the pandemic and stuff like that. Like just loving the new people that we've met, and we are still in a restricted state right now, but like these relationships that we build are only going to be, they're already beneficial. Like right for cancer, I mean, like that came out through the pandemic and all these other things. It's like without the pandemic, those wouldn't happen. And I'm not happy about the massive amount of losses we've taken, but I am very optimistic about the future because when things get back to normal, it's just like they have all these new friends, right? And if they're gonna recommend a gym, they're probably gonna recommend us, right? Yeah.
No, that kind of like builds into what separates Evolve Fitness, from other gyms. Like through the pandemic, definitely like your community broadened, and Evolve Fitness was out there, and people knew, got around it, and really respected the proactive approaches that you and your team made. But yeah, like what separates Unveiled Fitness, do you think, from other gyms?
Oh goodness, how can I say this without sounding arrogant? So I would say that, and I really do mean this, and I don't mean this to sound cliche, but I think that anybody who starts a gym is a good person.
For
like,
sure. 100%.
They care about helping others. And especially if they started a long time ago, because it wasn't a viable career back then, right? It was just a pipe dream. So unless you're, there are some franchises around that are owned by people that just want to make money.
Right.
And I hear horror stories about the contracts that people are trying to get up, that they want, and the cancellation fees and this and that. And I'm like, how can you look somebody in the face? How can you look a person in the face? I'm not going to name names. We got a client through COVID. Couldn't get into classes at our gym because there are restrictions and nobody's followed. Had an unlimited membership, dropped down to a lesser membership. Still couldn't get in. They have a 30-day cancellation policy, which is fair. She canceled it. Can't get in classes. Canceled 28 days notice. And they said, well, we're gonna have to charge you for next month. You didn't cancel in time. And that just like broke my heart. It's like you can't even get into a class, and they're gonna charge you for it next month, even though. And I'm like, and then that manager, who's not the owner, because the owner's not present because it's a business opportunity, looked them in the, how can you look somebody in the face and say that? Like charge them money that they're not going to be able to use, right? So I think our success is we have two owners that care deeply about people. That's very rare. Like if you were to hire people for the jobs that Mitch and I do, because we love it so much and because it is what you had to hire 4 people. Because we want to train 60 hours a week.
Right.
I mean, that's what
no 100%. Yeah.
And it's I'm getting better at delegating, but I do feel very happy with the team and the structure. And COVID forced us into implementing traction. Keith Skippington, shout out to him for pushing that on us, an operating system, and really defining things and getting more roles for people and having better communication and stuff that we always needed but didn't know we needed until it all broke, right?
Right.
And every business owner can attest that because every book you read it has everybody, and they're all the same. The traction is an operating system. There's similar ones that are around. It's all like when you reach this level, it's all gonna break. When you reach that level, it's all gonna break, right? So, yeah, it was. I don't even remember where I was going with that. Oh yeah. So yeah, just Mitch and I like we don't do contracts. I give refunds whenever somebody asks for it. Not everybody's gonna love Unveiled Fitness, but I want to leave them with, if they're gonna leave, I want it to be saying I would recommend that a friend goes there.
Right.
And just there's like 15 of us now. There's like 11 or 12 of us full time. We're a very small number compared to the hundreds and hundreds of clients that we have. So we don't make the experience. We set the tone, right? But it's our clients that make the experience, right? And that's what I hate about COVID is the masks and the inability to see smiles and the ability to interact. Because if you were to walk into Evolve, if you were a new person,
You're a hugger.
Yeah, exactly. I used to know 99% of names. Now I don't know because people walk by my house with their mask on. I can't even tell who it is, and it makes me sad.
Yes.
And I don't even teach any classes, but I want to know people's names and I want to know things about them.
Right.
And it is what it is. But it's like pre-COVID, if you were new when you walked in, I'll show Jan Bossom right now. Jan Bossom's going to notice that you're new. She's going to give you a tour, and she's going to help you. She's going to stand beside you in that first class. And it's not just Jan, it's everybody.
Right.
And they're going to make you feel welcome.
Yeah.
And that's not us, that's our community that does that, right? And again, again, you foster that, but there's only so many of us.
That's
But
right.
we just have like the most amazing clients ever. They're just like, they recognize coming to a gym is scary. They were scared when they first came.
Right.
So they see that person with a confused look on their face. Oh, you must need a tour, right? We don't have a front desk. Like, I don't want to have a front desk. I don't know. I don't know if I can afford a front desk. But I want our clients to be the front desk, right? And they are. So, and I know it will get back to that. But yeah, just putting people first.
Mm-hmm.
If you put people in the community first, the profits will come.
Right.
If you have great service, right?
Right.
And we do. So, but yeah, I think all gyms are great. You gotta find the gym that you love, but I think we have the advantage because we care. It's not just a workout. We're asking you how your sleep is going. We're asking you how your habits are going. We're asking you how much water you're drinking, things like that. Like, I want to make an impact on obesity and chronic disease and things like that through healthy lifestyles. So I don't want just people to come work out. I want them thinking about
It's building those healthy habits, right? To live long and happy.
Yeah.
Right. That's.
We're never gonna be sexy on the old gram, but we're gonna do
Well,
our best.
I don't know. It depends who you're asking.
True.
So, like, unreal journey and success up to this point. You know, like, what are you most proud of?
I would say I'm most proud of like sticking with it.
Mm-hmm. You're resilient. And
yeah, being willing to learn and
For
realizing
sure.
that I don't know everything, and then
Lifelong learner.
yeah, and the community stuff. I mean, it's hard
Yeah.
to ignore that. Like
Absolutely.
it's, I would say it's okay to have it be kind of a selfish thing too, because it feels good to give back,
Right.
and it's okay. People I think kind of feel guilty about that. Like you give money or you give time, and it makes you feel good, and that's okay. And that can make you, what you do can inspire others to do that, right? Just the energy compounds. So the community stuff and just just how we treat people. It's like that's what I want to be known for. Is like you want to leave a legacy. I made an Instagram post one time. It's like, do you want your tombstone to say Matt was known for arguing with people on the comment section of Patagonia, or do you want Matt to be known for like somebody who always treated people with respect and kindness, right?
For sure.
So you get to make that choice every day when you wake up.
That's right. No, that's great. Great. Probably too many for this podcast, but what are your favorite moments or memories at your time of Evolve Fitness? Like there's gotta be some funny stories, things that have come up, maybe some embarrassing moments.
Yeah.
You know, what's something that kind of sticks out? We got some characters. We definitely got some amazing characters, whether they're trainers or clients.
Yeah.
You and Mitchie are characters, and you guys like to have fun. And
yeah, well, we told the story in Mitch's podcast about when he was on keto and then he drank the night before his team Mitch workout and showed up in the cab and the garage door was open and he basically fell out of the cab and he saw him over and everybody clapped for him and he came up to me and he said
a supportive community right there, understanding.
Yeah, and he said, and it was only him and I, right? He's like, Maddie, I need you to teach this class for me. I can't. And I was like, I have a client, I can't do it, but I didn't have a client. I went and took a nap. My funniest, most embarrassing story is like we throw a lot of parties, and I have to toe that line. I haven't enough drinks to be able to go on the dance floor with clients because they're bugging you all night, right? Mitch just leaves, and I'm like, I can't leave. We got to be present here, right? And so one night,
or there's me and Alan that just decided to put on a 30-minute
exactly,
stage show last party.
I'll tell two party stories. The first one is sorry for how long this podcast is taking. Matt Boyle, owner of Dear Friend Bar, and they were mixing my drinks a little too strong.
Yeah.
And I had to fly to Nashville the next day, but I didn't make it on. So I was going to see Garth Brooks on Sunday, supposed to fly to Nashville on Saturday, the night after party. Missed some flights, made it on Sunday. We saw Garth Brooks, it was okay. But that was pretty embarrassing to miss a flight after a night of, because I set 8 alarms and none of them woke me up. And then the other thing is, and I still remember why we threw this party, and it's still the most epic thing we've ever done. One of Mitch's clients early on in the Canary Street days, this is probably 2014, one of Mitch's clients said that somebody was coming to the open gym just like ours, they had way more money than us, and they were going to charge less. So I was like, okay, we're going to make sure our clients are loyal. So we rented Olympic Hall, and we threw an open bar, Western themed client party. And it was like, and we hired food trucks to go outside, and it was just We drank every single thing in the whole place except for the red wine because you couldn't see it in the fridges behind. People were on the dance floor with full bottles of wine. There was I still have pictures. There was Leo and Katie. What's Katie's last name? It's different now. She's married. Leo and Katie, he's got her dipped on the, they had never met, and there's a circle, and everybody's clapping, and people are getting in the middle and dancing with each other that are complete strangers from the gym.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that people just talk about it forever, and it was so much fun, and just, yeah.
Oh, we gotta get back to that. We need to get back to that.
Yeah, as far as like, I mean, client things and stuff like that, I mean, you have your typical, like, lots of people farting when they're doing like raises and stuff like that. And,
Right.
I can't think of any like specific things right off that were really funny or embarrassing. I'm gonna come back to that one. I'll tell you the next podcast.
Don't gotta hit a home run with these questions, no. But no. So again, I'm interested. What is next for Evolve Fitness and Matt Benvie and your twin brother, Mitch?
Yeah, I mean, we have like a top secret. By the time this goes live, we'll probably have another gym somewhere.
Okay.
So that's kind of a secret.
Yeah.
Right now, we're working on something. Doing more online, like focusing a little harder on reaching people, both with our virtual program, but more like one-to-one online coaching. Because online coaching is really cool in that they can work out anytime, anywhere. So it kind of eliminates excuses if you're building workouts and keeping them accountable. And that's why our virtual program is great, because people used to be like, man, what do I do on notifications? Like now, instead of having to take the time to give them something, they just do the virtual program, right? So there's that. I'm super interested in starting a business coaching group with my friend Bria, because I think that I bring a lot of experience of things, and that's why I always tell people, you gotta hire a coach, you gotta get mentorship, you gotta spend more time around people that have similar goals and that are supportive, because my coach says his bio says success loves speed, and it's, if you want to be successful for your goals, you can figure it out yourself for sure. The time it's going to take you to do that is going to be a lot greater than if you hire somebody who's been there, done that, and can give you the tools. Like when I hired Pedros, it's like boom, immediate jump in revenue by like 2 times, right? And again, the more revenue for a gym, the more people you can help, and that's where we're at with that. I did purchase a condo that's still under development in Mexico in Cabo San Lucas. I would like to spend more time there. I would like to do some like volunteering there.
You need Matt Benvie time.
Yeah,
You know?
and I'd like to have more properties there. I mean, hopefully that goes well. I know nothing about that stuff, but I'm excited because I love marketing and I love all that. So I'm excited to bring marketing into an Airbnb. So I'd say lots of people do it for an investment, but they don't necessarily treat it the way I will treat it. Because it's like, hey, I have lots of money, let's buy a house and rent it out, without like building an email list and doing all these things. So there's that, and then the last thing would be like my kind of like long-term vision is Northwood as a gym. They had a program where nurses from Dow would go get a resident from the room, bring them down for a workout. It's the most amazing thing ever. Also terrible because then that nurse would graduate and there's no continuation. So I saw it in action, and just the look on these people's faces when they were working out with the person is like unbelievable. So it's like, how can we use our Evolve Fitness Forever program and the people in that program, get them trained up, and there's many experts that can help with that, and have this massive volunteer program where every nursing home in Halifax gets workouts. So it's kind of like my long-term thing. It's like, because I love the older adults, I love training them, love being around them, have great stories.
Yes.
They don't care about weight loss. All they want to do is live their best life.
Right.
And I know that they can live a better life if they're healthy and active, right? And getting that social interaction as well. So that's like the kind of like long term. And I want to do it, honestly, I want to do it in here, and I want to do it in Mexico as well.
That's awesome.
And we can marry our kids.
That's awesome.
Just over there.
Hey.
Whatever comes first.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Quite the story there, Matt Benvie. You know, again, just to kind of wrap it up, right? I hear servant leadership. You know, a little bit of timing, seeking that, a little bit of luck. You know, humility and mentorship. Building those connections and following your heart. And you know, I have to say, as a friend, I'll say it again. Yeah, it's definitely you're definitely an inspiration. You know, what I love about you is you always have that open door policy. You're always there for your friends and people you care about. And I know I'm gonna try to make you cry here, but no, I've always been impressed and very proud to call you my friend, Matt. So it's great to be on the Benvie podcast, and I think that was a successful story unveiled.
Yeah.
As a successful addition to your series here. So
Yeah. Successful at being the longest podcast ever.
Right?
Nice.
You deserve it. It's your podcast. You know, whatever. They can skip through it every 15 seconds and they want to get that.
Awesome.
All
Thanks,
good.
man.
No,
Appreciate it,
it's
man.
awesome. No, thanks for having me. It was
Cool.
great.
All right.